Hey freaks, it's Phil. Just kidding. It is Serena, and it's time for the pre-2020s Storm Chaser to move over or play a new game. We're excited to have storm chasing streamer Vince Waelti in the studio tonight. And it's not a Storm Freak show without hashtag Weatherfools and some weather resources for you. All on the Stormfront Freaks Live.
Going green. Greenwich. Saddle them up. You got it, boss.
All right, welcome to the most entertaining weather show. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks Live, brought to you by the AMS Weather Band. Connect with weather enthusiasts all over the world, as well as over 10,000 members of the AMS Weather Band. Is a great place to nurture and share your love of weather. Get full membership for just $12 per year. I spend more on that in Starbucks by going to amsweatherband.org. So we also want to thank, of course, tonight, all of our Patreons. Phil is scrolling the list down below tonight. Take a look at it. Thanks to all of our Patreon teammates. They're scrolling across the bottom of the screen. They support the show. I see Joss, I see Angela, Jenny, Jamie, Al. There's a ton of you guys. We seriously couldn't do this without you guys. So you can join our team as well and get access to our exclusive Facebook group, which I'm super biased to. Have over 50 of our past guests. We have a number of tiers, including some with exclusive merchandise like hats, water bottles, t-shirts, bags you can't get anywhere else. So you can help support our show for as little as $5 a month. Once again, cheaper than Starbucks, guys.
That's nothing.
It is nothing,
right? It is nothing. So come on, come join us and get more details at stormfrontfreaks.com. That list is still scrolling, guys. We've got some amazing people that support the show. So it is always happy hour, however, on our show, and it gives us a great chance to introduce our co-hosts. So we're going to do our What Are You Drinking segment tonight. So we're going to go ahead and start with Dina Knightley. She's our meteorologist and weather producer at weather.com. Dina, what are you drinking?
I found a new wine that I bought just for the name of it, called Cloud Watcher.
Ooh,
So
That's amazing.
I tried it. It's actually not bad. It's not bad.
How could you not buy that?
I was
I'm-
drawn to
First,
the
I don't
name.
think we've never had a weather themed wine on the show. It's a
I know,
first.
I like
I'm not
it.
sure if we have, but
Love that.
that's a first.
Maybe this will
Well-
be Dina's new thing.
Love
I love it. That's amazing. All right, so we've got Brady Harris, meteorologist as well. Brady, tell me it's something more than dihydrogen monoxide tonight. What you got?
It's something more than dye. I don't even know what you just said. That was some sort of chemistry mumbo jumbo. I've never had scotch before. I'm trying a little scotch tonight. So this could go really well, or this could go completely off the rails. So
This is
we'll see.
awesome, Brady. We're really
see.
proud of you. You're going to grow a little
Brady's
hair on that
so
upper lip.
mature
We're really,
now.
this
Yeah,
is
it
exciting.
burns my throat. Yeah.
You've picked a good thing. All right. And then we also have Jen Watson. She's our on-camera meteorologist at the Weather Channel. Jen,
Yeah.
do you have hot cocoa tonight? Tell me what you got.
No, I got
No?
tequila, guys.
Jen's
It's
got
king.
a real
No.
drink. I'm shocked.
I have a real drink. I've got Patron in here. It's been a week, so yeah, I'm drinking, guys.
Wow.
Cheers to everyone.
Cheers
And
to
we've
that,
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
You guys, and we
Jen-
have
I
so
love how
many
you say
people.
it's been a week. I'm 1 hour into my shift. I'm like, it's been an hour. It's good.
I don't know what's
And
in
I-
the air, but I agree. It's been a week, man. It's been a week.
Yeah,
It has. And I have to give a shout out to everyone watching right now. Like, they're awesome. They're commenting
Yes.
Scotchy Scotch Scotch. I love it, you guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nah, we got a lot of good people here tonight. Okay, so I always bring the weather beers. Scotchy, scotch. Down into my belly. Down it goes. Love a good Ron Burgundy quote, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So last podcast, I brought the Thunder Funk beer. And I was
Yes.
so sick, I never cracked it open. I didn't drink it. So I'm bringing like the Thunder Funk tonight. I swear to
Oh,
God, I'm going to
good.
drink it tonight at some point.
I'm gonna let that go. I'm bringing the Thunder Thunk tonight.
Bringing the
I like
Thunder
it.
Funk tonight.
Dina
All right.
started early, baby.
I started early. I'm already
We're
getting,
ready to rock
already
and
getting
roll.
out of hand.
Go,
That's
Dina.
awesome. We'll tell you what, Jen, why don't you go ahead and
Yes.
ask our guest what they're drinking and also go ahead and do their introduction. I know we're super excited to talk to them tonight.
Yes, so we are pumped. I am personally pumped for you, Vince Welty, who's been chasing and documenting extreme weather since 2014. And in 2020, he decided to make it a lifelong mission and left his low-paying career in EMS to provide virtual storm chasing tours, which have evolved into an interactive live stream hosted on YouTube. On March 31st, 2023, Vince got within a couple hundred yards of an EF4 tornado, which I think is terrifying.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's
like
wild.
Vince.
I've never done that before. That's crazy. So first of all, Vince, we're gonna have all the questions for you tonight, but we have to know, what are you drinking?
Okay, are you ready for this? It's really
I don't know if we are, but
Ready.
I'm
So-
excited.
So I already got kicked out of here once. I think Phil booted me. I'm back. I don't know. But anyway, so we'll see if this holds out. So I don't really drink, but I have the tears of my haters in red.
Oh,
Taco Bell
yeah.
cup. And it's actually, I
Woo!
think
Is
this
that Taco
is,
Bell?
yeah, I don't know what it is. It's pink something. It was supposed to be a Diet Pepsi, but this is what they sent me. So that's what we got.
I
It's
see.
okay. Vince,
So
I
we're
love
gonna
it.
make do with it.
Awesome.
Usually,
Is
Vince,
that
I
snow in
have
the
like,
background too?
What?
Is that
Is there
snow in the
s-
background on the ground? Yeah, like
Yeah,
Oh, he's
that's
up in North
that is actual
Dakota.
snow.
that
That
is
is real
that
life
is
snow.
ludicrous. I did see that on Twitter that you were winter chasing. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't think about snow right now. Like it's 80 out. Like summer's never ending. But you're there chasing snow already.
It's cold. It's like
Yeah.
18. So
That's
Is
I'm
it?
jealous of
Ooh.
you.
Whoa.
I kind of am
Vince,
too. I like the cold snow stuff.
yeah, I bring
Yeah.
the snow down here, Vince. I think, Dina, we're gonna get snow in Atlanta, just so you know. I think it's gonna happen
Come
this winter.
on. Yeah,
I
I
know.
want it.
Yes. So Vince, we have to ask this question because most people who are obsessed with weather, they're weather geeks, meteorologists, they have some kind of story that got them into weather. Do you have a story like that when you were a little kid, or how did you get involved in everything?
I don't know. Everybody always asks me that, and I have not found an answer. I have a terrible memory anyway. I actually forgot how old I was the other day and had to do the math. So I don't
love
think
it.
there was really, yeah, I don't think there was a
And you're
specific
not even
event.
a drinker. God
No,
bless.
yeah, exactly. See, it's not artificial. So I don't know, maybe drinking would help, but I don't think there's a specific event. It's just kind of, it's always been part of my life and something I've always wanted to do. I Someday maybe something will, make sense, but I don't know what happened. I guess I just, woke up one day and decided this is what I needed to do.
I love it.
When you
So
said you got let me ask one thing. When you said you got within a couple hundred yards of a EF4, did you mean to get within a couple hundred yards?
Yes and no. So this thing was in rural Iowa, and the road was going almost due straight east-west. The tornado it looked like it was going to cross, north-south, but it ended up kind of brushing the road a little bit. So kind of a trajectory issue. But the problem, I shouldn't say problem, is partially a lot temporary lapse in judgment. But there was another chaser behind me. That was Brandon Kopic. He's in the famous video that you'll see. He's on the radio yelling at me. He's like, "Hey, there's a tornado right there." And I'm like, "Yeah, no kidding. There's a tornado right there. Like, I'm not stupid." I'm looking over my left shoulder. There's actually a tornado a little bit farther away on the ground behind us. And he's like, stop your car. I'm like, why? And I look over to my right and he's like, there's a tornado right there. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure as shit there is. So there was actually a larger tornado that was about to tear a barn apart that was right there. And I was focused on the other one.
Wow.
And yeah, but safety was in mind. Obviously I wasn't going to drive into the thing, but it wasn't intentional. I was attempting to reposition for what I thought was the tornado, but the tornado was trying
Was
to
it 2 or
reposition for me.
3?
There was 2.
Dang.
It eventually, I think there was a third, but that supercell had 2 at one point.
I just
Which is
couldn't imagine
crazy.
you're chasing a tornado and you're like, hey, this is, like when we were chasing guys. I mean, imagine we're driving down that road and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait a second, there's another one. Like that would be insane because you think you're safe and then you just look and you're like, wait a second, I'm not, and then I don't know. That's so how
We'd
did
be
you
yelling,
get
"Serena,
away?
stop!"
Yeah, exactly. How did
Exactly.
you get? Did you just stop and did it pass, or like how did you have to like U-turn and get out of there?
Well, we can get into the specifics because there's a lot of things that you shouldn't do as a storm chaser here, and we can talk extensively about this here in a bit. But basically, it's not. Yes and no. I mean, there was some backing up and some choice words. Usually, if you drop the F bomb at least 5 times, you're okay. If it's more than that, that's like an indicator that this is probably a bad situation. So there was some backing up, window fogged up, I couldn't see. So I
Oh.
was kind of hoping that nobody was behind me. So I'm asking on the radio, I'm like, can you, make sure there's nobody behind me? And the response I'm getting is like, just back up. It's like, that doesn't help. But, it's in the situation. It's like, okay, well, back up is not, hey, there's a car right there. So you kind of just sit and watch it, but at the same time, you're trying to juggle cameras and everything. So, you know, you would think this was like a 5 minute long event, but it was there and gone in 20 seconds.
Wow.
It was moving 60 miles an hour. So there was just no
Wow.
time to do anything other than, point the camera and turn around and, floor it. So
Were you
that's
by
about what we did.
yourself? Were you by yourself?
In the car, yeah. Like I said, there was another chaser
Jeez.
behind me. I think at the time that was it on the road. Luckily, I'm glad, honestly, that there was nobody else on the road there, because that would have been a mess with that large tornado going across the road. And if people, get right on your bumper and you do need to back up and you can't, now you're like trying to do this U-turn and there's a tornado, and that doesn't usually end very well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
good
is
luck. What kind of road was it? Was it a dirt road or was it a paved road?
It was actually a state highway that I've driven
Okay.
on probably 50
Oh,
times
wow.
and didn't
Oh,
even
nice.
notice it.
Yeah,
Ah.
I mean, just from our chasing, right? I imagine like you're on a dirt road, and then you're like, well, I'm not going anywhere. It's wet. So
Yep.
that'd be terrifying. That would be terrifying for sure. But
So when was your
So
first
have you-
chase, Vince? Oh, sorry.
First one,
Yeah.
I don't know when. So back in 2014, that was my last year of high school. So I started kind of venturing out on my own. I was turned 18 in January and all that. And I'm like, okay, so I'll go be an adult, go do these adult things. Did some local chasing and stuff. But up until 2019, I was primarily just Dixie Alley, just because of work. The only time I could get away was, February, March, April, and then sometimes November. So I didn't actually see a tornado in the plains until I think it was May 17th or 19th, 2019, the McCook tornado in Nebraska. I did terrible, but I got a picture of it from, like 20 miles away. But I don't even remember my first tornado, just because I always remember being in a hurry to get, from Wisconsin to Louisiana and back or something like that. But the first storm chase that I like remember in detail was that 2019 chase, just, being out in the plains, where you're supposed to be when storm chasing, and actually finally seeing a tornado that's, not obscured by pine trees.
Because that's the biggest. What's your biggest difference, you think, with the Dixie Alley versus the Plains?
Dixie Alley's fun because you get that adrenaline rush to a point.
Fun.
It's not, well, I should
It's
say
scary.
it's entertaining. It's never fun at the end of the chase, because typically we get these deadly tornadoes down there, and that obviously ruins everything. But a lot of times, there's like this thrill factor down there. You never know what's going to come out behind the trees, but of course it's dangerous, and you have to be cautious of that. And it does, once you're, the anticipation of the chase is exciting, it's fun, but once you get chasing, it's not, because it's like, okay, is there a tornado behind the tree, or is it just RFD coming around? Oh no, that's a tornado, and I got to turn around, but I can't, because Interstate 20's got a forest for a median, and you can't turn around. So you're trying to calculate, do I floor it, do I stop, do I get out, what do you do? Whereas out in the plains, you get to enjoy it, and you get to show the viewers when you're live streaming, 6 hours straight of just this big supercell spinning. And you don't do that in Dixie Alley. You'd go down there for a 12-hour chase, you get 2 minutes of something that someone wants to see, but you go out to Kansas or whatever, and as long as there's a storm, there's something. I always tell my viewers, as long as there's a dark cloud, we'll do a live stream, because that's all you need. You can see for miles, and you can screw up out there too. You don't have to be that good to see something. You can see tornadoes from 20 miles away. So I'll take planes over Dixie any day. That's traditional storm chasing. That stuff down in the southeast, I do it because it's my job, but it's definitely not something that I really look forward to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there ever a day where you're like in the southeast where you're just like, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not doing it. I'm not making the trip east. Or if it's like, hey, there's a slight risk. There's a marginal risk. It's the only game in town. There might be some tornadoes. Like, are you gunning it?
I'm there for everything. Just it's
Wow.
become my job.
Dedication.
But before it was my job, yeah, I would sit stuff out. I remember we had, was it 2020 or 21? We had those 2 high risk days down there, and I sat one of them out because I was too late leaving. But I also didn't feel bad about it, because it's like, you're going to go down there. It's a high risk. There's going to be tornadoes flying around. That's fine. That's what you want to see as a storm chaser. Don't give, everybody always is like, oh, I don't want to see tornadoes. We don't. Well, we want to see tornadoes, but not ones that hurt people. And that's really
Right.
rare down there. But,
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad about it because it's like the chances that you're going to see that are almost zero. The chances you're going to come across damage is pretty high, but you're damage chasing down there. It's not even tornado chasing at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you had to use your EMS background at all to help anybody? Because you're seeing all this damage.
Yeah, several times. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm trying to advocate for people to be prepared for this stuff, because there's a lot that you can do as a lay person or as a non-trained individual, just besides calling 911 or comforting somebody. But, we've had several incidents. Rolling Fork, I was in Silver City as one of the first ones there, and it was so chaotic. Fire department, just everybody was in Rolling Fork, so nobody was in Silver City, which was the next town up from Rolling Fork that got smashed by this thing too. And there's people everywhere, and people just running around. I remember finding the fire chief, and I said, "What do you need me to do?" And he looks at me, and I believe I think it was actually the fire chief from a neighboring department that had arrived, but he literally handed me a piece of paper and he said, "Write down what we should do." And I'm like, "What do you mean
Oh my
write down what we should
God.
do?" And he goes,
Wow.
"Write down what you see back in there and tell me what we need to do." He goes, "We have never seen this." I'm like, "Okay."
Wow.
So I'm trying
Oh,
to not step on people's toes, but take that role of somebody with some seniority here, and you really end up working together with public safety when you have, whether it's first aid training or you're an off-duty cop or a doctor or a medic of some sort. You're going to use it whether it's chasing or driving. I stop at more accidents than I do tornado damage. You come across somebody that's pinned in a car and you need to sit there and comfort them or
mm.
throw some cones out, make sure they don't get rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. So it's not just the chasing where I find myself using some of this medical training. It's the driving. 100,000 miles a year, you're
Ooh.
gonna find
Jeez.
people that need some sort of assistance.
Yeah.
Vince, let's talk about talking about accidents, unfortunately, but you've been chasing for quite a while. How has it changed from when you started chasing in 2014 to now? Because I know there's a lot more traffic on the roads, it's a lot more dangerous, but describe that to everybody, like just what you've seen in your life, in chasing.
I've noticed, and every storm chaser, because the haters, they're out there. I'm filling this cup with their tears right now. Somebody's gonna call me out on this, so I'm gonna add this disclaimer.
Yeah.
Every storm chaser drives distracted. I get it. Technically, honestly, everybody drives distracted. I turn
No.
down, go and mess with my Apple CarPlay to put the gas station in. Yeah, I'm technically distracted, but there's a difference between driving distracted and driving reckless to a point. You see these people that somebody will quick open their phone and click gas stations and navigate. I don't think those are the people that we've seen an increase in. What I've seen a lot is people with their phones like this all day going down the road. I'm up here covering winter weather. This is literally what I did for like 8 hours on a live stream today. I'm just complaining about people's driving because somebody's about to rear end someone because they're on their phones like this. And I've noticed that as phones and technology, whether it's tablets, CarPlay, your phone, whatever gets more popular, there's more distracted driving. And separate from the chasing, I'm terrified of covering these winter storms. And anybody that watches my live streams knows that I am so paranoid about getting rear-ended because it's happened before that I don't want that. I don't care if you have the best insurance or not. You're still screwed when you get in an
Yeah.
accident.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
That's without my truck, I'm done. And it takes, 2 weeks to install all that stuff. So I'm out if I get hit. So I'm terrified of accidents, honestly. I think that we have seen an increase in distracted driving overall. And I think that kind of bleeds over into the chaser community where I have actually seen kind of the opposite. I've noticed more people advocating for, not driving distracted, not driving 90 miles an hour down the 2-lane road in the middle of the night. I think that this big chaser safety push has actually maybe reversed some of that, whereas kind of the general public is maybe sitting there with their phones in their face still.
Yeah.
Vince,
Does
what
that
do
have
you think
anything to
every
do with?
chaser?
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead, Dina.
What,
Nope, Dina, it's all
what
you.
do you think every chaser should have in their car as far as like bandages, peroxide, what should we have in our cars?
It's a great
I don't
question.
know if I'm the most qualified person for that. The most but I'll answer it anyway. But the most qualified person for that's like Dr. Jason Persop, the storm doctor. I like Jason, big fan of him, fellow storm chaser, doctor in Colorado. he's always suggested to people, one thing I've heard him preach, is tourniquets. I've heard lots of people preach trauma dressings, like big pads that are absorbent. They make these things now. They're called Israeli bandages. It's kind of like a tourniquet you think like wrap, but it's got a tourniquet. So it's a bandage. You can wrap it around somebody's leg. Let's say they had something stuck in them. They've pulled it out, which they shouldn't do. You need to apply pressure to that bleeding. You put that around, wrap it, you tighten it down, and it kind of makes things a little bit not idiot proof, but it makes it quicker because even if you have the best training in the heat of the moment, half of that training you forget anyway. So basically, a lot of folks I see out there wanting to carry all these fancy gadgets and stuff. I think it's best to carry the basics. Carry a box of band-aids. Like, you're gonna need them. I use band-aids all the time. Tape, duct tape. You can do lots with duct tape. Towels. You can do a ton with towels. You can make a tourniquet. You can apply pressure. You can do all sorts of things. But I would just keep an assortment of bandages, your flashlights for at night, maybe a permanent marker to write down, if you apply a tourniquet, you want to write that down and say, hey, it was applied at such and such time. And just basic things like that, make sure you've got what you need to take care of yourself. If you get a minor injury, that's why I carry a tourniquet on me all the time, just for a couple other reasons as well. But, if there's an accident, if I'm in an accident, your duct tape, like I said, duct tape, I think we've used more duct tape in the EMS field than anything, stabilizing patients, whatever. But the best tool that you have is what's on you. It's like they always say, the best camera you have is what's on you. So get a small bag, put some basic supplies in, some bandages, some rolled gauze, and stop the bleed. That's the biggest thing, it's stop the bleed. We talk about the ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. You come across someone, check their airway. If it's not blocked, are they breathing? Yes or no? What they're not breathing, is the blood circulating? So you always want to fix, your airway, your breathing, and of course then your circulation. And any sort of effort's not going to do very good if somebody's bleeding out. So stuff to stop the bleed, I would say, would be the number one kind of safety item you'd want to keep in some sort of medical bag.
That's a great advice.
Yeah, let's
that is
talk
good.
about cameras and equipment that you have, Vince. What are some of your favorite things that you use to stream?
So it's a good thing Greg's not here because he'd probably call me out for this. So this is an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and almost everything that I post on the internet is from that.
Yeah, you rock, Vince. You rock.
Yeah.
I
Feels
think
Greg, I
ecstatic.
approve. Okay,
I'm
I'm basically
really-
the new Greg. I approve.
I'm gonna put some more tears in the cup, and I hate to do this. Really good friends of mine are gonna kick my butt for saying this, but I made a career with my iPhone. You don't need the DSLR to take good pictures. You need good camera equipment, and you need to know how to use it, which I think is the important thing. You need to know how to
Yeah.
use and compose a shot. But I always tell people, if you're just starting out, just use what you have. So I use an iPhone for most of my stuff. My streaming equipment, I actually have it's a LiveView LU600. It's got 6 or 5 cellular connections, and it's got a satellite connection, and then that goes into a camcorder. It's got a switch. There's a camera on the roof. All that fancy stuff. But if somebody's just going to live stream, and they're not, if they're in an area with good cell coverage and stuff, you can do that from a phone too. It's going to be a pain. It's going to overheat. The connection's not going to be the best, but you can do it. So that I try to keep it as simple as possible. The live streaming is a little bit different, but if I'm going to take a tornado video, tornado's crossing the road in front of me, I'm pulling my iPhone out because I push and hold. I can lock the autofocus and I can just hit the camera, and I know that it's recording. I don't know how to use a fancy camera, and I'm too dumb to learn. So if I'm trying to figure this out, I got 20 seconds to get this wedge going in front of me. I don't know how to get this out or what lens to choose. So I'm pulling out my iPhone 9 times out of 10.
Same. Every time I try, I'm like, by the time I figure out all this stuff I need to do, it's gone. The storm's gone, lightning's gone, the tornado's gone, everything's gone, and then I'm like, what did I just do?
Every time. GoPro's a
It's
good
nice-
option too.
It's nice with the
I like
iPhone because you
GoPros.
can
Those are
automatically
good.
upload it. It's not like another step. Like my camera, I have to like Wi-Fi it over to my camera and then upload it. So
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah, JRB Storm says the best camera is the one that's available. And even I think even Greg
100%.
would agree with that. I'm going to go ahead and put words in Greg's mouth. And say that even
Oh,
Greg
that-
would agree
that
with
He would
that.
agree with
Fun.
that. I feel like
Yeah.
he would.
I
He's been
think
on a
he
lot of
would.
storms.
Vince, talk about and I've always, I guess, I don't know if I want to say I've always wanted this, but when you're in the field and you take a video, right? Is it like, are you trying to be the first one to post it, the first one to get, because there might be 10 other storm chasers on that shot, right? Obviously if you're live streaming, you're going to get it. But is that something you're also thinking about too? Is like trying to get that video or image or whatever like as quickly as you possibly can, and because I've always wondered like are storm chasers thinking about that as they're going, or are they just like, hey, I'll post it later, that'll be something I'll do tonight or another time.
So you guys had Charles Peak on the show a while ago,
Mhm.
and the reason I talk about that is Charles is I consider him a pretty good friend, and he always makes the comment, the social media chasers. That's where I got that whole thing from, and a lot of the social media chasers, I don't really consider myself part of that, but a lot of the social media chasers, they have to get that stuff up because they're making their media sales, they're using
Mhm.
their brokers or whatever the heck they want to do or however they do it. I don't know. I don't do that. They do that. They need to get it up because their sale and their views are going to come from that. I don't really care so much. I mean, yeah, I get a tornado. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to tweet this. But if it takes me 20 minutes to pull over and get a screenshot and put a watermark on it, that's fine because I live stream literally everything that I do. I have not been on a storm chase except for
Mm.
one time that was an accident a couple of weeks ago. There was a tornado like 2 miles from my house that just happened on a 0% day, and I wasn't streaming for that. Obviously, that was the first time in like 4 years that I haven't streamed a storm chase. And
Wow.
so it's already happening, and I feel like if people are going to follow me, they're going to watch that. And honestly, half the time I don't even upload the darn video. Like I very rarely do I upload processed photos or anything. So I'm not really in a big hurry, but that is a big thing. A lot of these, kind of like middle of the line between professional, like doing this as an income or doing this as a hobby. Those folks that try to get media sales and stuff, it's important to them. They get their tornado, the chase is over, they pull over, they got to find Wi-Fi, they got to do it, and they got to get it up. And I just don't like doing that. Some people do, but
Mhm.
that's the only way they can get their sale. Otherwise, somebody else is
Yeah.
going to get it.
Yeah. And I think I have watched your stream before, by the way, and it was awesome. The question I have, to kind of follow that is I feel like there's a lot of people starting to get into the streaming. Like, how did you get into it? How did you start? And how did you grow your channel to where it is today? Like what did you focus on? Do you just say, hey, I'm just going to focus on being a great storm chaser and being a great personality? Like, how did you get your channel to where it is today?
So I started streaming on Facebook, which I wasn't good at. I was getting like for like 4 years, I got like 28 concurrent views, and I'm like, all right, guys, let's hit 30, and we hit 30, and then one would drop off. I'm
Oh.
like, I quit, whatever. So I basically decided, all right, YouTube's what I need to start with, and there's really no good way to live stream. Everything you have to do is it's got to be custom. You don't go to Best Buy and say I need to buy a live streaming thing. You got to set up a server. You got to do all this crap. So basically, I believe it was Hurricane Ida. My friend Ryan Hall, of course, former guest, sends me a Twitter message and he's like, "Hey, do you want to like play together today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do you want to do?" And he's like, Let's do like a team live stream here." So
Hmm.
that's kind of what put the bug in me. I'm like, all right, so
Hmm.
if we're gonna work together and he's gonna be on YouTube, like I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. So like the next day, I'm like, all right, we're gonna revamp the YouTube. So I get home from this hurricane. I'm like, we're gonna go on YouTube, and I started. And honestly, I don't really know exactly how I got that first 1,000 subscribers, but to get monetized and make money, you need that 1,000 subscribers, and it took me probably a year to get there. And when it finally happened, I remember I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, oh, okay, so this happens, now what? And it was almost like it was game over because I'm like, well, now what? Like, so it's just been constant. Get out there and do it. You have to. The only way to do this is to just be out for everything. So you have to enjoy doing this and just be out there and go out there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Pretty
show up for
nice.
work every day.
No, that's pretty awesome. So is that like the big reason why you decided, because you could either do like storm chasing tours, like a lot of people do, but you went like this virtual route. Was it because of like the Ryan Halls? Is it because of the distracted drivers? Like, tell me a little bit more about why so much it was like, no, we're going to go on this virtual route.
So I always thought it would be fun to be able to just be, all I want to do in life is chase storms and come home and do whatever, So I'm like, the one way that I knew I could do that is if I turned what I already wanted to do into kind of a passive and active way to make money. So I'm like, all right, so I need to either learn how to sell stuff, make media sales, or do whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, one thing that I can do is put a camera in the car and make people feel like they're there. That's not going to be a nuisance to me. It's going to keep me busy and keep me company. like, I think this is what I need to do. So that's what I started doing. I'm like, we're going to take everybody along and show them the sky. And I just built this amazing fan base, and we've got fantastic moderators. There's a team behind the scenes. Now I work with Radar Omega. I manage a couple of storm chasers here that are in the app, and we're building a fantastic product there. And one thing that's what's amazing when you go and do something like this, kind of in the freelance world, you can take one thing and make 5 other different income streams, and then you don't have to necessarily be tied to one. If you get tired with one, you can go to the other. But I'll never get rid of the live streaming. That's the bread and butter. If there was one thing in the world that I'm happy with, it's the live stream, because you can bring those people with, and then they allow you to basically be out there to enjoy this at the cost or the expense of you letting them ride in the seat, but they're not actually there, but to them it feels like that it is.
Nice. No, that totally makes sense. We'll tell you what, with that, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take our first break. Tammy is brewing out in the Atlantic, and there's never been a better time to prepare your home for a storm. So whether your home is wood or concrete or brick, we trust and recommend Windstorm products for all the hurricane hardware you need for your storm shutters. Windstorm Products is the world's largest online distributor of hurricane hardware and shutter installation tools, and they offer $5 flat rate shipping to all 50 states. That's amazing. Visit windstormproducts.com for your one-stop hurricane hardware shop. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a very short break, and we'll be right back with more from Vince and the infamous lightning round.
Don't miss Vintage Stormfront Freaks.
This one here, we do have a few dents in the new Suburban, but my truck, that hood's a trophy.
You might as well put 2 GoPros on there.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what it looks like.
So I'm like, I'm going to drive this thing into a tornado, and then they all start laughing.
Good. You'll be the only sober one by the end of the night.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are so excited to have amazing and incredible storm chaser Vince Waelti here with us tonight, talking and geeking out with us about everything that he does and then some. And Vince, I do have a question that I've been wanting to ask you, and I want to talk about Hurricane Idalia and your chase and your experience with that. Can you just geek out with us a little bit about basically the whole storyline of it all?
Yeah, so that was an interesting time.
Yes.
So I thought that was going to be kind of just a wash. I wasn't everybody kind of thought, well, it's going to be a big deal, but it's going into the Big Bend, and it's probably going to be like a 2 or a 3. And then here the night before, they upgraded it to be like a 4. And I remember we had spent the entire day, myself and my friend and one of my partners, Don Murray, he's one of the developers with Radar Omega. We were deploying these remote cameras, these cyclone port systems. We stream in the app, so we stick them up on trees and get video of the storm surge and all that cool stuff getting floated away. We put all those up. I'm super tired. I go back out and venture out. It's like 11 o'clock the night before it landfalls, and I'm like, all right, audience, we're going to spend like the next 4 hours driving around and seeing what kind of chaos is ensuing. And then the NHC put that outlook out, and they're like, hey, it's going to be a 4 at landfall. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, we're going to go back to bed because I'm going to be really tired. So I woke up at like 3 a.m. the next day, and a friend of mine sent me a text and then called me, and he's like, hey, are you going to like chase this storm or what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he just hung up the phone. And like, that's all he said. He just hangs the phone up. I'm like, okay. And I panicked. I'm like, oh my God, it's got to be like 8 a.m. Like, what did I do? And I pull up radar. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing's like about to landfall, because this thing was coming in. It was coming in hot. This thing was quick. We knew it was going to be quick, but not that quick, because this much on radar seems like thousands of miles, but it's really like from here to the next county. So I remember going out that morning and just getting involved in this, and there's trees falling down everywhere. And I'm just like, okay, the Big Bend region of Florida is not a good place to intercept a hurricane. Like, we've got to go inland and get away from this a little bit, because I didn't want to get stuck out there between two down trees and then have the car float away, or be the idiot, which is the goal to not be. When you're a storm chaser, just don't be an idiot. Don't look like an idiot. That's your goal. Like, I don't want to stand on top of the car and end up on your show as the weather fool or whatever. So I'm driving out of there. I'm doing like, 80 down the highway to get the hell out of here. And I hear this like thump. And then I look over and the Starlink connection was gone. And I'm like, I hit a power line again. This has happened several times. I'm always hitting power lines. Didn't even know it. I get out, the dish is like hanging there. And I'm like, there's like 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and there's like tops of trees going over the highway. And I'm just like, well, what the hell do I do now? So I get out, and I had some bungee cords. So I'm like bungee cording this thing back on the roof. And I get back in the truck, and I'm like, well, show's over. No cell service, no satellite. Screw me. I hate my life. And then all of a sudden I look over, and it's got a connection again, because it's now pointing at the sky, and I just slumped over. I'm like, no shit. So I get out, and I'm duct taping this thing. It had a big gaping hole in the plastic from where the power line hit it. So I'm stuffing a bag in there, so that I'm like, it just needs to hold out a few hours. So that storm was in and out in 4 hours. That was hectic, from standing there and trying to not to die in the middle of this highway, and chasers, going by and like, get out of the road. And I'm like, I can't. Like, there's a power line here, and I don't know where the power line went. I couldn't find it, but I definitely hit it. So you just really need to watch for those. I don't care if they're on the ground or not, but when they're like, windshield height, that's when they're dangerous, because you don't see them, and they take everything off the roof of the car. This is like my third time now.
Oh wow! I was wondering. I'm like, did he pull out duct tape?
Yes. That's why you got duct tape. That's good.
Yeah.
So Vince, I need to ask you this question. I've been waiting to get you on the show here, and you talk about weather fools and all that good stuff. And so it was great that Jen kind of set this up during your Adelia chase. So I want to play a little video for everybody. And I'll just kind of let this play. So, and you can maybe describe what's happening here. I think you already know what I'm going to play.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this has been suggested a few times. So that's my chainsaw there. This is a tree that's been down on the road.
Watch it, buddy, watch it.
A couple of people that have actually like nearly hit that tree, but there's a bunch of cars behind me. I left my saw there because a tree nearly went down, and the car behind me was
That piece of shit
repositioning.
just ran my chainsaw over.
Yeah, so that's what happened there. This guy, and I'm not going to name names because I've actually gotten threatened by some, but I won't name names. But this person just, there's so many lights on my truck, like red, orange, white, whatever lights. You cannot miss this truck, which is the appropriate use for them. And, this is Phil's favorite topic, is flashing orange lights in the rain. This is when you're supposed to use them on the side of the fucking road when you're cutting up a tree with your reflective vest, die. I'm outside
in the middle of a
truck.
hurricane, by the way.
Yeah, I'm outside the truck, and I'm like waving my arms, and then somebody saw the video, and they're like, no, I heard the door ding. And I'm like, no. You heard the door ding. You heard me slamming in park. I got out of the truck. I'm like this, and the guy just guns it, runs it over. And I'm not pissed about the chainsaw. I don't give a shit about the chainsaw. I'm pissed because if there would have been somebody like, let's say another storm chaser, because the original plan was the guy behind me had offered, hey, give me a tow rope. I'll hook it up. We'll just tow it out of the way. If somebody had been bent down there, like wrapping a tow rope around that, it would have smashed them. And I'm like, the least you could do is turn around and be like, oh, sorry. But no, I'm just like, I get it. You have a right to the road, but slow the F down. There's a tree across it. Like, you can't miss it. You had to go out of your way to go around it. Hello.
It's always amazing how people behave sometimes.
Hurricanes turn people crazy, man.
We all do stupid stuff. Like, I'm not the one to say I'm the, hell, I blew a stop sign the other day, didn't even know it, apparently. I don't, whatever, that's what everybody, whatever, nobody's perfect, but holy crap, like, you would think that somebody would turn around and be like, hey, could you, maybe not live stream that, or, could you cut that out of the live stream? No.
Well, so I want to tie into that quick, and this will be my last question. I'll turn it over to the real host. But so on that note, that's the challenge, right? Is streaming your chase. You run that risk, and we've done it the last couple of years when we've chased as a team. The week that we kind of do a team chase, and I've done some solo chases that I've streamed. But you run that risk. And, and again, I'm not going to say I'm a perfect driver and that I don't drive distracted sometimes and other stuff, right?
Greg would agree with you, right, Phil? Would Greg agree?
You probably all would agree with me if you've chased with me, right?
Great driver.
so Vince, here's my question: is because I've kind of set this up and advertised this as kind of the quote unquote new breed or new generation of chasers. What is different, do you think, with what you're focused on now and what you're focused on compared to maybe what you watched as you started getting into chasing? You know, where do you think that's gone, and where do you think this new generation of, because I've talked about this earlier, right? After COVID or during COVID, there was a big influx of chasers because people were hanging around. They couldn't work at their jobs and things, you know, so they're out chasing or learning a new hobby. What do you think I'll just call it your generation because I'm an old fart. What are you guys like? What's your focus? What have you seen the big change in the chasing community with that younger generation?
I think it's mostly positive. You know, there's a lot of chasers that maybe aren't doing what they should be doing out there, but I think for the most part, I think people are. And even the folks that have been doing this, you know, for, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I think they're everybody, you know, some of these people I've seen, they start out, everybody starts out kind of just get to the tornado. I don't care if you got to drive 300 miles an hour. And then it turns into, okay, well, if I drive 300 miles an hour, I'm going to wreck my truck. I'm not going to have this, whatever. So we're going to drive, you know, yeah, you're 10 miles an hour, whatever, write the ticket, you know, 10 miles an hour over on Interstate 80. Are you really harming someone when it's a sunny day? I'm not going to, you know, armchair quarterback that, but I think a lot of these people, they dogpile when they see someone doing something wrong, and they're these young chasers. So that tells you, well, they at least identify that something's wrong with, you know, dumb behavior out there. And, you know, everybody loves to call it out. It's probably not the right thing to do publicly, but I've noticed that a lot of these guys are, especially the ones that are live streaming, because they have to mind their P's and Q's because there's always that witness there, and, you know, somebody will call them out because it's live. But I've noticed a lot of these guys are driving pretty like timidly. They're driving, you know, everybody drives nicely. They want to stop and help. You run into these other live streamers. It seems like, you know, for the most part, you know, traveling just as any other motorist would, if not a little better. And I think some of these, you know, veteran storm chasers that have been out here 20, 30 years are setting really good examples for these folks. You know, I try to set a decent example. I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect, but because I live stream everything, you know, someone's always going to nitpick that. But, you know, there's a time and a place to push the limits a little bit. I'm just going to be real. And that's what a lot of people won't admit on a camera, but I will. There's times where you probably should push it a little bit because it's safe to do so. It's the perfect storm, but it's a calculated risk. You can't take that time when it's not appropriate. You know, pouring rain in the middle of the night, it's not the time to be doing that 5, 10 over. You know, you probably need to be doing 10, 15 under. And I think that a lot of these chasers that are coming about, there's a couple of them that I've seen driving around, and you'll recognize it in a live stream, because I'll be like, that damn idiot can't even turn his headlights on, and I'll see it like, oh, you're a live streamer, like, thanks, you about killed me, you know, whatever. But I think for the most part, it's positive, and it seems like the newer folks want to learn. You know, I consider myself relatively new as well, because up until like 2-3 years ago, I didn't really care. It was just a hobby. But I think that overall it's positive. It's always talked about as negative, but that's just Twitter. But I think what I've seen in the field, it's 75% positive.
Yeah, I feel like everyone is always, well, especially with Twitter, I mean, or X, whatever people are calling it now. People are always looking just to dig on people, right? That's kind of the Twitter culture, you know. People are just looking for someone to try to cancel, right? But I have a question, Vince. So you mentioned about when you kind of a couple of years ago when you made that transition. I feel like there's probably a lot of people that are listening to our podcast that are, you know, this is just a hobby, right? So talk about what was the tipping point for you to kind of transition to do this full time, and you know, how, you know, was that a risk? Like, how were you able to kind of sustain that and be like, hey, I'm going to do this full time? And you've been doing it full time now for years. So, you know, I think there's a lot of people that have that passion and like, how, you know, but they just don't want to take the next step.
So what did it for me, I was just fed up with my job. So I'm not bashing the EMS community. The EMS fire police community is very supportive, but I worked government, like, municipality EMS, and then I worked a private sector EMS, and that the administration was not very nice. And one day, May 4th, 2020 was the last straw. I was not only I was in the ambulance, I was managing some stuff, but I was also the mechanic because they fired the mechanic, budget cuts. But so the owner's wife calls me and she's like, "Oh, this ambulance is stuck in the hospital and won't start." And I'm like, "Well, I'm in Oklahoma. Like, there's a tornado on the ground. Like, I'm busy." And they knew I was going to be gone. And she's like, "You're just such a worthless blah, blah," like, just went off on me. And I'm like, seriously?
What?
I'm in a
Whoa.
Walmart parking lot right now on speakerphone. It's cranked up. And there was like a tornado coming this way. And there was the local fire chief was next to me. And like, I was just upset. Like, I was about ready to like cry because this woman was such a, yeah. So, and he came up to me. He goes, "I don't know who the hell you work for, but you need to quit that job." And I said, "Well, it's actually an ambulance company." And he goes, "Is it?" And he rattled off some name. And I'm like, "No, like they're not from here." So I'm like, "All right." So I quit. That's when I was done. And I was very lucky to my fiance, Nikki. She had a job at this company and I had a credit card. I'm like, okay, no big deal here. We got income and we got a credit card. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to use my credit card and 95% of your income to make this work." I'm like, "Just give me like a month." And then a month turned into, I'm like, "Give me 2 years." That 2 years I bargained down to a year. I was able to pay the credit card off. And now we got within that year. So she wasn't the only reason, but she was a big part of taking the load off for the family. So I credit her. But anybody that wants to start doing this, go get a job that you can tolerate. Do that to support this, preferably something flexible, remote. Thanks to COVID, we can now do remote work. Find something you can do to support this because it's expensive. It costs me like $65,000 a year in expenses to run this thing. It's ridiculous. Fuel's ridiculous. I mean, it's like $4,000 a month in fuel. The truck's breaking, 20 million tires a year, all that
put
stuff.
like 100,000 miles on your car, right?
So it's three or four sets of tires a year. So you just have to, so you have to get something that you can build up. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Nikki's the sugar mama.
So you can build up a little bit in your savings and get your life started. Don't do it like I did, build something up for, 5 years or whatever, because this is going to get cheaper as life goes on. Technology is going to be cheaper. Yeah. So just get something and then go out as much as you can, learn as much as you can while you have that stable income, because I guarantee you're going to fail about 10 times when you start doing this. I've failed probably 15. I actually counted one day and I think it was like 14 or something. You will fail and then eventually it just clicks and I don't know what happens. And then you start getting with the audience, but just put yourself, your family, and the audience first and get out there and get on a storm and you will eventually succeed. It's just, you'll fail a bunch, but you'll get there and then it's really rewarding when you do.
And I know Jen has another question, but real quick, do you do any like the VR storm chasing, or do you do any like the games? Do you play any like the storm chasing games? Is that good training at all?
So I keep seeing, so my friend, I consider like one of my best chaser friends out here is Daniel Shaw. I guess I saw the other day that apparently his RAV4 got built into this storm chasing game. And when he was here like a couple of months ago, he's like, "Oh my God," this is exactly how I said. He's like, "Oh my God, you got to see that." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "They may put my RAV4 in a video game." And I'm like, "You're full of shit." And here they did. So I have not played this video game yet. I think I told him that I did or something, but I don't know if it's released yet, but I'll play one of them and I'll give you a positive review.
Oh, I love that.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
Oh my God, that's amazing, Vince. So Vince, I kind of have like two questions and you can answer these kind of quickly, but what's your most memorable storm chase to date and what does the future look like for you, Vince? How are you going to step it up a notch?
Most memorable one, there's a lot of them and there's like 5 that are equal, but probably the most interesting one for the audience is going to be May 21st, 2021. It was a Selden, Kansas tornado. Just because, so I had Nikki with, and I'm like, we just, perfect tornado, beautiful, photogenic, whatever. I'm like, "Hey, just hold this camera, just like stand here." And I didn't have any of my shit together. We weren't streaming at that point, but I had nothing together. It was iPhones and all these cameras that I didn't know how to work, and she had no idea what I was handing her. I'm like, "Here, just hold this." So I just like go and like move the car, and I just kind of like drive it away. And she's like still standing there, and I'm like, "Okay, this is good." So the video that she got is actually probably the best tornado video second best tornado video I have on my hard drive.
Wow.
And that's from her, but it's my camera. So
Way to go, Nikki.
Go, Nikki.
I'm going to do the proper politically correct thing here and say that was mine, but it was shared, but that was definitely probably the most memorable.
Wow. That's awesome. And Vince, what does the future hold for you? Like, how are we gonna?
So I don't think there's much change, honestly. You know, we have our partners with the channel. I don't want to grow this channel into 2 million subscribers and lose the touch with the audience. I want to keep.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll get, well, maybe get there someday. And if it does, but I still want the audience to interact with me. I don't want them to go through, you know, a wall to feel like they're involved. And you know, my partners with Radar Omega, we're doing some good things too with live streaming, and I think we're going to see an expansion with kind of my partners as well. Not necessarily with the channel. I think I'm pretty happy with the channel, but I think we're going to start expanding and doing some stuff additionally. I do not know what. So you know, use your imagination. I'm keeping no secrets. I have no idea. I could be in Bismarck tomorrow. I could be at home, or I could be maybe in Denver. So I can't even think of tomorrow, let alone next year. But I promise there will be something interesting someday.
Cool.
I love it. I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, hey, that sound means that it is time for our lightning round. This is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions for our guests. We invite everyone to play along. We're doing this mostly for Vince, but for everyone else who's in the chat, the Stormfront freaks, we're all going to play along here. I can't wait to see all the comments in the chat actually here tonight, because it's been just lit. It's been on fire. So tonight we're going to be playing I Can't Drive 55. So as storm chasers, the time you take to get to a storm is really critical, right? And if you chase all the different weather, you're driving through all the different states. So we have a ranking of the top 10 states with the highest percentage of drivers cited for speeding, which is basically like the most amount of tickets issued. And so we've got a few comparisons here that we're going to ask Vince. He's going to have to pick state A or state B if it's higher. And I want to hear other people's experiences. I want to see them in the chat, and we'll talk about it a little bit. So Vince, do you think you're ready for this?
I might actually be good at this because I think I might know some of the answers, but we'll find out.
I'm looking forward to the personal stories behind this. All right. So
Yeah.
which state ranks higher? Here's our first one. Colorado or North Dakota?
It's got to be Colorado.
Sorry.
Phil's just been waiting to hit that buzzer like that.
The speeding ticket fines in North Dakota are only $80, so maybe these people are more willing to speed.
So
I
maybe they
actually
make
don't know
more of
that
them.
personally. Yeah, but I've been told by people, and there's a sign. So.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah,
like,
North
I mean,
Dakota's
that's like
a little bit higher, so a little over like about 14.5% of their of the drivers are cited for speeding there versus Colorado's 12%. So there we go. All right, cool. Once again, I want to see the people in the comments here play along. Number 2, which state ranks higher, Wisconsin or Alaska?
Wow.
I don't know. I'm trying to think about, land.
We believe in you, Vince.
Does anybody care in Alaska?
I know.
We're gonna go with Wisconsin because I see those cops all over the place when people pull over.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Very good.
Good job,
No,
Vince.
it is Wisconsin at about 13.5%, where Alaska's about 12.5%. So nicely done. Okay.
Close.
Next, which state ranks higher? Wyoming or Washington?
Ooh.
Ooh.
We're talking
I
about the
don't
Washington
know.
state, right? Not
Washington
DC.
State, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
not
know.
the
Does
District
anybody
of
care in
Columbia.
Wyoming either? I mean, pretty.
Yeah. Well, what's
Although
everybody
it seems
saying?
like
in the
it's
chat?
wide open.
Yeah, chat, help us out here.
Oh, they all say Wyoming. It's
Yeah,
gotta be
they're all
Wyoming.
saying Wyoming.
It's got.
All right.
Oh, come
no.
on, Phil.
They don't care in Wyoming.
Oh,
Wow.
Come on, it's Wyoming.
that was
guys.
tricky. That was tricky. That was
There's
tricky.
No,
Come on,
it is
Jack.
Washington.
I mean,
Washington
duh.
wins that one.
People are just angry.
Oh my gosh.
Vince, have you ever been ticketed in any of these states that we're talking about
That's
yet
a
so
good
far?
question.
No, I actually don't think of. I don't even remember the last ticket I got. I got pulled over because my license plate fell off once, and the cop comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, you're a storm chaser." I'm like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Hold on." No joke. It was like 20 miles from my house. Goes back to his car. Comes up with his phone. He's like, "Can I take pictures of your car?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I never got a ticket. He never even told me why he pulled me over. And then I'm driving away, and I'm like, "What's the deal?" And he goes, "Oh, you don't have a license plate." I'm like, "Oh, it was just a paper one. It blew off." And he's like, "Have a good day." So
That's
Oh,
awesome.
really?
That's
That
Wow,
is
where
good.
was this? Where was that?
that was Wisconsin
Nice.
Oh, was it?
on a live stream.
Wisconsin
Serena,
has
That's
redeemed
awesome.
itself.
Sharina, before we're done, I
Thank
think
you,
we're gonna have to
officer.
ask the question of who from the freaks has gotten a ticket in the last year, and we should have to raise our hand. I think that should be our last question.
I have
All
not.
right, we can do that at the end. All right. So the next two here, South Carolina or Virginia?
Ooh.
I'm going South Carolina.
I don't know. I kind of
Yeah,
want to do
I think so,
Virginia, but then I don't know. I don't know.
There's some logic behind this. So Virginia doesn't allow like radar detectors. So we may want to go with Virginia on this one because there's probably fewer people knowing there's cops. I don't know. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think it's Virginia.
Wow.
Well, screw me.
on,
I
Phil.
don't listen.
That was
Vince,
right.
I was on your side. I was on your side,
Jeez.
Vince.
Having grown up in Virginia, they may cite a lot of people for having their radar detectors, but not for speeding. Though South Carolina cites more of their
Okay.
drivers.
It's devastating.
Wow.
All right, I'm watching in the comments too. It's a pretty even split here of
Yeah, it
how
is.
everyone feels.
You guys are
Kinda
doing
funny.
good.
They are. All right.
We're doing
Okay, so
okay.
here's the last one. Which
Okay.
state ranks higher? Ohio or Iowa?
Ohio.
It's got to be Iowa because Ohio's the best. So
I'm from Ohio too. Me and Brady are
see,
both Ohio.
Dina gets it. Phil gets it. I mean, us Ohio people, right?
I don't know.
What's
But
chat
I have
saying?
gotten
Ooh.
a ticket in Ohio.
Chat's a
They're
little
saying-
biased.
Yeah, they are a little biased.
You know what?
That's a
You
little
know what? Ohio against the
biased.
world. That's all I gotta say. Ohio against the world. You guys hate us because you ain't us. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Did you just say anus, Brady?
No.
Yeah, it
no.
sounded like
said
it.
anus. I think you said
Ain't
anus.
us. No.
No,
I did
he
not.
said anus.
Yeah.
All right, Ohio or Iowa?
Yeah, it's definitely Ohio. Angela says the DOT sucks there, so.
Oh,
take it.
yes.
No.
Nicely done.
You know what? That's
Nicely
rigged.
done.
Phil rigged that. He knew
You
it.
know what's
Yeah, he did.
You know what's funny is Ohio is actually the highest ranked. It's almost 15% of their drivers. So
It's the only place
so
I've
That's
ever gotten a
huge.
ticket.
really,
All right,
nice.
who
So
from the
Tina-
freaks
so
has
Dina's
gotten
a
a
stat.
ticket in the last month? Who from or not the last month? The last year. Not that I've gotten a ticket in the last month. Who from the okay,
Oh,
so Phil
Phil's got his
Phil.
hand up.
Ohio.
Anyone?
I
Oh, just Phil.
You contributed to that percentage. You might have been a tipping point. It's unbelievable.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
Phil.
All right, well, hey Vince, you did a pretty good job on that one. Thanks so much for playing along. Before we go to our next break, we want to make sure we give you the opportunity to let people know where they can find you and your content.
Super easy. seethestorm.net. You got to spell it out like SEE. Everybody's like, see the letter. I'm like, no, that makes no sense. So it's just seethestorm.net. Everything's there, one place. Don't have to mess around. Super easy.
Very nice. All right, cool. So
Love
go to
it.
See the Storm to find Vince. And we're going to take our final break. But don't forget, you can find Stormfront Freaks merchandise exclusively at helicity.co. So Helicity is the dream store for weather geeks, from t-shirts to drink containers. View our entire Stormfront Freaks catalog and more at helicity.co, the weather superstore for the freak in you. So go ahead and stay tuned. We're going to be coming back. Yes. This is a good one. We are going to be coming back with our world famous hashtag Weatherfools. So hang tight, everybody.
All right.
God.
That is awesome.
Vince, you're awesome. You're amazing. I just have to say it.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was
Yeah.
that was
I
so
try
good.
to be. It's not easy.
No, you do a really good job.
So
All right.
Angela said she got a ticket in Ohio today. So she also
Today?
But was it a speeding
Angela.
ticket? Was it a speeding ticket?
No.
It was not a speeding ticket.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I still think Ohio cops are dumb.
Yeah.
I can't agree or disagree with that.
Me neither.
Just because I
So-
still live here.
Yeah.
So for our Patreon members, so we've got Garrett, we've got Dan, we've got Angela. Any questions here for Vince?
I got one.
Yes, Angela.
Go, Angela.
So if you had your dream team of 5 meteorologists to help guide you, do whatever, who would they be?
Interesting.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's like the
shoot.
Mount Rushmore of meteorologists.
I don't
like
know
it.
if I can. I don't know if I can name 5.
Ooh.
So Well, we'll just like put James Spann in there because he's like a given, right? And
Yes.
then
Good one.
you got to
Good one.
put Cantori in there because it's Jim Cantori.
He's
you know.
Cantori.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tom Skilling's good. You can put Tom Skilling on there. He's going to retire soon, I guess,
Yeah.
next year or something.
Yeah, he is.
There's now senior chief meteorologist at my local news station. His name is Bob Lindmeyer. He was like the one guy that I always watched when I was growing up. Did like a job shadow with him. Super cool guy. I'll put him on the team, and I'm totally out of people, so I'm going to throw his partner in crime on TV there, Blaze Keller, and he's local to me too. Super nice guy. He told me once on Twitter that I was the only storm chaser he would ever go in a car with. So I feel like I have to give him some. There's
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow,
compliment.
cool.
those are complete. That's the only 5 that I can think of. I'm
No,
just,
Vince, no one's ever told me that. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
You got
little
pulled over
jealous.
the other day, so
Phil, you got the
liability,
freaks
you know.
with you, man. We're all with you.
I know. We'll come with you too.
What else? Who's got Dan, Garrett? You guys got anything for Vince?
I don't think I have a question. I just you guys pretty much covered the whole gamut there, I think. So, that Iowa video was pretty epic there. So definitely
It was.
Wild situation there.
What about
That's
Texas
good, Phil.
Ranger? We got Dan. Dan's donned in his. Are you a Rangers fan, Dan?
I live in Texas, and
Maybe.
yeah.
Dan, you look great. You look awesome. I love it.
He's going to the
Good
series,
camaraderie.
baby.
So I've got a quick 2-part. Are you a ham radio operator? I think you are.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And then the second part is, how does that help you, or what benefits have you seen while you're chasing?
So I've used this twice. There's a funny story. I'll make it super quick. But Wichita County, Texas, they run this like ham radio weather net. A long time ago, they kicked me off of it trying to report weather. Like it was like a legit report. And like, we don't know who you are. Get the hell off. So I'm like, well, screw this. I'm never using this again. Well, the only other time I use it is really, there's some other chasers out here. Daniel Shaw is one of the few that I talk to. There's that's probably about it. Honestly, there's a couple chasers. There's a couple chasers out here that use it. That's about it. I mean, some of us, we've got some, like business frequencies that VHF that, I pay for and license and stuff. That's not ham, but it's nice to have because you do come across, one time there was a chaser with a flat tire, had no phone service. And he was actually on there like yelling to try to get for somebody to come help change his tire before like softball says hail hit his windshield. And it was good to have. I mean, I keep it in the car. It's there if I need it, but I don't use it a whole lot because trying to keep track of all the different groups and stuff in these areas is almost impossible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I get
I like it when you find like a channel of someone you don't know, and then you just start. I'm pretty sure I started meowing on one of those channels, and someone was really confused.
Just have Brady in your car when you're out
Of course you
chasing.
would, Brady.
He'll hear like a
great.
random voice, and he'll be like 9er breaker, and we're like Brady.
They probably
poor good
hate
buddy?
me. All the ham operators probably hate me. So I'm so sorry.
I'm sure they do.
Oh my god.
What else? You guys got any more questions you got for Vince? Guys? So again, those of you watching right now, thanks for tuning in. So we call this little break that we take, this is Stormfront Freaks Raw, because we kind of edit this portion out of the audio podcast.
Does that
So
mean
it's
I can
kind
swear?
of what? Well, I heard anus already tonight, right?
No,
It's
I didn't
not a
say
swear.
that.
No.
I
If you
heard
think
that
that's a
too. I
swear,
did.
We are on different levels. if
No,
that's
it's
a swear.
not. No, it's not.
The chat
It's
will
not.
support me on this one. Anus
Right.
is not a swear.
But
don't
so
know.
those of you watching, you get kind of all this crap that we end up some of the audio that we edit out. But this is usually the fun and the best stuff that we have anyway. But stay tuned because we've got another set of segments here coming up. My question, Vince, to you is: do you have time to stick around for these weather fools and all that good stuff?
I'm in Bismarck and it's North Dakota, so I don't know where I'm going to go.
I take that as a yes.
And it's
Yeah.
And you have
19.
snow on the ground. You have snow on the
Yeah.
ground.
Like,
You don't want to make a
There's a
snow
chance.
angel?
There is a hot tub downstairs, so but
Ooh.
I'm not in a hurry.
Ooh.
I'll get there eventually. So
Ooh.
I'm
not
still-
sure. You
Well,
wanna go in
but
that
hey,
hot
you're
tub,
an
Vince.
hour. Aren't you on Central right now? Are you Central time, right?
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock or so. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got, they won't shut the pool down
I'm
yet.
not sure you
You're
want to
all
go with that pool hot tub.
Yeah.
I got until 11.
Suspect.
We're good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. You always know the hot tub is best when you're going in at the end of the day after everybody else has been in it. That's like
Everybody's
the
missed it,
best
yeah.
time
Just
to go in the
remember, Vince,
hotel hot tub.
Over 50% of Americans pee in pools. So just remember that stat.
Does anybody
into
here
the
pee in
hot
the pool?
tub.
I mean,
Oh, it's so gross, Brady.
I don't. No, I don't.
Dang,
I'm
okay.
anti-pee, but I'm just telling you the statistics. So
I'm
that's
anti-pee.
just
Anti-pee.
very anti-pee.
I try not to.
I feel like that's another show title.
It is, but this is the
I know,
this part
it's
we
getting
cut
cut.
out,
It's
so you
getting
can't do
cut.
it.
I know.
You can't do
It's
it. There
devastating,
were
Brady.
comments about. There's all these comments. Vince, Nikki's talking about chickens, and everyone's talking about
Oh,
chickens.
I love the
Oh,
What's
great.
with the chickens in the chat? I'm
So we got 4 chicken. I explicitly told her no chicken, no more animals, because to me, you need to keep your life as simple as possible, so you don't have all this pain in the ass shit going on that you got to deal with. I'm like, chickens sound like a pain in the ass. I'm like, no chickens, and she's like, oh, okay.
Well,
So
you
I come
said
home
no,
one day.
so automatically
Yeah.
she's gonna go get some chicken.
Right, which was stupid of me. I should have said yes. But anyway, I come home and there's these 4 chickens in the bathroom, these little baby chickens. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So they're now grown chickens, and they're like not normal chickens. They're like, some are white with like poofy feathers. This one's like looks like a leopard. I don't. They're weird. But anyway, this one like flew up on my shoulder one day, and I'm like, oh, this one loves me. So like obviously these
Aw.
chickens like me or whatever. The kids like him because they can like run around after the chickens, but like these people if anybody out there is single and their future spouse likes chickens or cats or horses, you don't write them off, but use caution with what you say and what you agree to or don't agree to.
You're not
You'll
wrong.
end up with chickens.
You're
Yeah.
not
I love you,
wrong.
Nikki. I love you, Nikki.
Now, do they make like eggs? Like, are you never having to buy eggs again from the
I-
store? Or
I don't know, because that whole $3 a week we spent on eggs versus the hundreds of dollars it cost to house these chickens, really helps. But I haven't made any eggs yet. There
Those
was a
better be
fake
some
egg.
good eggs.
Yeah, there was a
Oh.
fake egg like under the coop, and I'm like, does it really just like shit the egg out on the ground? And Nikki came around, she's like, oh, that's a fake egg, and I'm like, why are you putting a fake egg? Apparently there's a reason, but like I guess they make eggs. I don't know. I don't know what they do.
hey, you listen. You Storm Chase, and she likes raising chickens. That's just
Yes.
fine, right? Everyone's got their
Everything's
thing.
balanced.
Each their
To
own.
his own,
Everyone's
man.
got. Hey, Vince, do me a favor. Give us a little sound bite. If you can say, hi, I'm Storm Chaser Vince Waelti, and this is the Stormfront Freaks.
Hi, I'm Storm Chaser Vince Waelti, and this is the Stormfront Freaks. Does that work for you?
That worked
Or
just
did
fine.
you need
Nailed
like
it.
more enthusiasm?
Go, give me cut 2. Go ahead. Give it a shot.
Oh Jesus. This is Storm Chaser Vince Waelti, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Good.
Can you
I
do
love
it
it.
while
Well,
doing
that's
the
good.
wavy,
Vince,
It's
wacky,
snowing and it's
inflatable arm
cold.
guy?
Oh shit! It snowed a lot out there.
Oh, is it?
There's like 3 inches of snow on the
Well, we better get going so you can get back out there.
I'm not
Yeah.
going.
Might have to
Surprised.
pass on the hot tub tonight, Vince.
Oh no! We're done for tonight. I'm not saying it takes like an
All right.
hour to set that stuff up.
Oh.
All right.
Not
It's a
tonight.
phone. I thought you use your phone camera.
No. You can use your phone camera. I just don't. I use all this other fancy stuff, but you can use your phone camera to stream. But like what I'm doing, with like the satellites.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'll take a
Got
picture
it.
for you though with my phone.
Thanks. Actually, I don't want to see. I don't want to see snow yet. You keep it in
I don't
Bismarck.
either.
I'll
You
try.
guys
I
living
want
up
to see
north.
snow. I'm gonna
I
come up there and
do.
visit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it to
All right.
Atlanta, Vince.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's get ready for our next bout here with hashtag WeatherFools. Who's got them? Dina, I've got yours. Anybody
I
else?
have one.
I don't, Phil. I didn't bring one this week.
Brady left.
I know Brady's
He's
like,
like, I'll go
fuck
find a
this.
weather fool.
He's like,
We're out. We're out.
I'm gonna comment on him, Phil.
Okay, then I can't pull it up and try and play it. No, it's gonna be too much.
Do you want to send it to
Do
me?
you want me to share
Yeah,
it?
we
Do
can-
it?
Yeah, send it to one of us.
Old school.
I was just slammed. I could not. I
Okay.
couldn't.
I was the same way.
Yeah, let me because I've got some from our
He
listeners.
Nikki Welty's like Brady yeeted.
There's red and blue lights in Angela's camera. Did she meet an Ohio trooper?
How is that scotch there, Brady?
Even she's turning around like, what?
Fantastic.
Do we have another statistic tonight?
Oh no! All right, so who's got Weatherfalls?
All right, Serena, I just sent you one.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we got Serena, Dina, and Phil.
Yeah.
No, I don't have one. I send. Who else wants one? If I send you one,
You can send
I'll
me
take
one.
one. Or yeah, no,
I'll
give,
take
give,
one.
give, yeah, give.
Oh, that's a good one.
give
Jesus,
Jen one.
Phil.
Okay, Jen, I'm sending you
Send
one.
it to me, Phil.
So Jen, yours is from one of our listeners,
Awesome.
Mikey.
Beautiful.
So I gotta pull this up.
Awesome. Just got it.
Okay, so we got Serena, Dina, and Jen are okay. You guys aren't the Weatherfalls. You have Weatherfalls. It's a very
I can
very
be a weather fool
important
if I want to.
distinction.
Vince, you know what? I have a similar story to we got pulled over in our storm chasing van by the police, and I believe we were speeding. This was several years ago, but he, instead of like giving us a ticket, he was just like, so where's it gonna go? What's gonna happen? Tell me everything. And I mean, he didn't give us anything. It was
Every
amazing.
time. Well, almost
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're very curious.
Yeah. Well, they especially in the southeast where there's always like really bad tornadoes. It's always, well, is it coming here? And you tell them no, and sometimes they're like disappointed. And I'm like, okay.
I don't remember. I was in a small town, Oklahoma, driving through as like a college student. I was going way too fast. You know, those towns they dropped to like 30 miles an hour. I was not doing 30. The cop pulled me over, and it was that. Do you guys remember that night that the Dallas Fort Worth tornadoes went through? It was like at night. It was
Yeah.
like 2002 or 2003. And I was like, "There's tornadoes going through Dallas Fort Worth right now," and they were like, "Oh my god!" And they let me go, and I was like,
All right. So what order are we going in?
I put it in the private. Well, I put it in the public chat accidentally, and then I also put it in the private chat. So we got Serena, Dina, Jen.
Everybody gets to know.
Serena, Dina.
The chat
Jen.
was really loving that one.
All right, so
I'll do the
so Brady,
present.
so what I'll do is I'll play. So remember, coming out of break, I'm going to play the Pecos Hank song, and then right after that, I'll hit the or Pecos Hank video, and then I'll hit the Weather Fools video. Brady, remember to unmute yourself so you can kind of transition out of the end of that video. And then you finish episode 195 show notes, stormfrontfreaks.com. And then I'll play the WX Resources video. And then Dina, you unmute yourself so that you can kind of transition out of that video. And I've got one from Dina. Who else has a WX resource?
And really quick, Phil, are we sharing our screens right now?
Nope.
Or after?
I am sharing your screens. You're just talking about it. I'm
cool.
sharing. So
Okay.
I'll post it. That's why
I'll
it's
stop my
hard for
share
me
then.
to
Okay.
do
Talk
all
about
that
it.
stuff. Yeah.
Sharing
All right.
is
So
caring.
I have
Sharing
a
is caring.
WX resource. Who wants it? I'll send it to you. It's from a listener.
Yeah, you
I
can
help
send
or
it.
whatever. Yeah.
Or yeah, we can all talk
Um,
about it.
All right, Jen, I will send it to you.
Okay.
And
But you're
so
going to
this
share
is,
it too, right?
I'm going to share it on the view it, right? So people can view it. We've had it
Yeah.
before. It's the earth.nullschool.net wind.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
I
globe
love that
and the wind
one.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
But
my absolute favorite.
it's good. And obviously with the tropical stuff we have going on now, that's fitting.
Gosh,
Uh,
See a lot of
David
people
said
in-
I'll
he's
ask you
never been pulled
first.
over by the police. David, you got to be careful with that because the next time you know you're going to get pulled over, you got to knock on wood. You don't want to curse yourself. Can't get too cocky with speeding.
You can't get
He's
too
gonna have wood in his
Who are
car.
you
baby.
talking to, Brady?
All right. So
The
Dina, and so Jen just mentioned Mr. Mitosis or our listener there.
Yeah.
Dina, what order you going in?
Jen and then me, and then I'll
Okay.
I'll end it.
Episode 195 show notes.
Yep.
And then I will play the Freak Fanbox video. Again, Dina, unmute yourself because you'll do that as well. So you transition. And again, this is like our inbox of people sending us questions or just comments about the show on social media.
It's the flashy and brilliant questions, right, Phil?
And we have 3.
They are flashy and
No.
brilliant questions.
We have 3. So Dina, I'm going to have you do Tom's first. Tom is from Twitter. Dylan is the image. He's second, and then Steve is third, which is was from Facebook, but you've got the verbiage there.
I got him, yeah.
So I'll show them on the screen while you talk about them. Okay.
Am I doing the whole Cowboy Steve one? That's a long one.
Yep, doing the whole shit.
And you got to do it in a cowboy voice too.
Yes, you do.
I like this.
Yeah, Cowboy Steve's awesome.
Okay. And then just remind everybody that little thing, post your questions or comments to our accounts, blah, blah, blah. State that. Might read
There's
it on the next
Angela.
show.
We see you, Angela.
Dina, you good on that?
Yeah.
All right. Then when you're done, Serena, you're going to close us out.
Yep.
And then when we finish, I'll play the closing credits. And then we have our after party. And everybody's welcome to stay for the after party.
Yeah, you thought we had fun now. Wait till you see the after.
I know.
Okay.
And for those, I see in the comments people are asking about Trollbot. We don't have Trollbot tonight. We'll have
Not
it another
tonight,
night.
sorry.
Trollbot's awesome.
Yeah.
We love it.
Trollbot's my favorite.
She needs a night off tonight. Phil works it really
Okay, so we've
much
got,
scotch.
I'm going to stick Brady there.
Brady, you look great.
Wait, I forgot to put on my makeup today. Oh,
You need a little powder.
I know.
I'm just kidding. You look fabulous.
No way,
You don't want to
Jen.
be shiny.
I can't look as good as you. There's no way.
Brady, no. You're mm-mm. See, you don't need makeup. You don't need anything.
I do. I need a lot of makeup.
Where's page 4? Here.
Makeup.
No.
Hair.
There was a
No.
reason why I waited. There was a reason why I waited to get a light just shining right on my face. Because at least the other ways I could have like a bad lighting excuse. You know.
At least your lighting is good. I can't get my good lighting.
What would
It
you
just
rather
doesn't
have,
happen.
Brady,
okay.
though? Bad lighting and no makeup, or gray pants pushing on your pelvis in the wind very strongly, showing your
Woo!
privates to the
That
world?
is a great reference. It's a fantastic reference.
Oh,
All right.
That's a good one.
All right,
That's a
here
good
we
one
go.
for
So,
after the
so
show.
Vince, you're part of the peanut gallery now, so you can comment on everything as well and chime in however you'd like. Fair?
That sounds fair.
All right, I'm going to be disappearing, and I'm going to be starting our Picos Hank video, and then playing the Weather Fools video.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Phil.
Everybody
You're
ready?
amazing.
Kitty
Yep.
Chaos,
Okay.
thanks
Oh
for
my
that
God.
T-shirt shout out. I like it too.
Billy Mays here, and I've got an incredible new product to introduce to you today. The Stormfront Freaks is like the ultimate weather infomercial, but without the late night
Take a
TV picks.
drive under the moon. Let's take a drive under the somber sky. Let's take a drive under the moon.
Woo! Welcome back to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Who is that? That's who? Who are we? Well, we're the Stormfront Freaks. What is this? For those of you that it's maybe your first time joining the show, or maybe you're just a little forgetful, this is Weather Fools. Now, what is Weather Fools, you may ask? Guys, you're asking a lot of questions tonight. Anyway, Weather Fools is us. We're going on the internet. We're going on the dark web, as Phil likes to say. We're looking for videos, tweets. We're looking for someone that did something not so smart, and it deals with the weather. We're looking for a weather fool. So, I know we have some weather fools tonight, and we have a specific order of people that we're going to go in. And Serena, you are our first person. Who is your weather fool tonight?
I have a serious pet peeve about many things, but going into floodwaters is one of them. Floodwaters are disgusting,
God.
y'all. They are full of
Ew.
sewage and chemicals. And here's some videos of the people making
Why
the
is
New
she
York
having-
subway rounds. I don't
Ew.
know.
Ew.
I feel bad
Why
for her. She probably thinks she
bother?
needs to.
Yeah.
please don't, y'all. Please don't. The floodwaters are disgusting. Do not go in
And
floodwaters.
it's New York. Come on.
It is New York.
Yeah.
I
You know
would
how much
Serena,
rat
have you
pee is
ever
in that?
Burn
seen
those
Star
clothes.
Wars where they're
I
like
have
in the
seen Star
trash
Wars.
compactor, where they're in the trash
yes.
compactor and there's like that disgusting water they're in? That's what that reminds me of.
That's
And
what
It's
Yeah, I
so
know.
gross and dirty. Oh my god.
I thought it was
Yeah.
so chivalrous when Greg went up to his like knees in that floodwater and out in Clovis.
Yeah.
Now I'm having some second thoughts. It's nasty, man.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do
That-
it, y'all.
That's
Especially
that's
in New York.
brown and black and bleh. I could
Yeah.
There's
smell
like
it
a
from here.
shoe in there. There's like
there's
stuff
all
in there.
sorts of stuff in there.
It looks like
Probably
a
a
dead
dead
body
rat.
floating
It's
in
a
there,
dead
but I think
rat.
it's a cove.
Yeah.
Dead
It's a
maker
dead
rat.
body.
That is
Yeah.
poop water. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So don't do
is
that.
just- that is straight poop colored water, and I don't
Yeah.
know. There might be poop in there too, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That was great, Serena. Dina, I understand you have a weather fool this week. Who is your weather fool?
I love this one. It's just, a guy out washing his car in the middle of a rainstorm. And when you like,
Look at the rain
he's got the
bands.
sponge, it's coming down hard. You can see, when you have rain that's really hard and it comes down in waves. And it's funny if you ever if you want to go back and
Look at the
listen to it,
wind.
because the guy
Trash
who's
can.
taking it, the trash can's going. The guy's just like, "What is going on?" The commentary of it. But he's like, "I'm getting this car washed. I don't care. It's my baby."
That's
like
I just thought it was so funny.
insane.
It's like tropical
It
storm
is.
force winds, and he's like, "I'm gonna wash my car."
Oh my god.
All
I
right.
mean, maybe his water got turned off. I don't know.
I would love to see
Maybe
the
he needed
after
it.
picture on that car to see if it
Yes.
was actually clean. Right? I mean, you got to think the debris
Water
is just getting
spots.
on that car from the wind. I mean,
Oh
he's
my
gonna have to
God.
wash it again. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ah,
I don't
That was a
know. It
power
was
wash.
funny. It's funny.
That's a good
Yeah.
that's a good weather fool. That's a great
I like
weather
that.
agreed.
fool.
That's one of those weather fools where it's like, you know what? If you do that, as long as it's not like a hurricane or there's not like lightning in the area, feel free. Some of the other ones were like, yeah, we wouldn't recommend that. But that's one of those. If you want to do it, great. It's probably not very smart though, and you're not really going to get the results you want. All right, I
Exactly.
understand,
Yeah.
Jen.
Yes.
Last but not least, who is
Yes.
your weather fool this week?
Okay, so I understand.
Whoa! What the hell was that?
I mean, that was something. But let's.
Well, I mean that was interesting, but what we're
Wow,
talking
what was that? Was a good weather fool.
Thanks guys. I brought that. Like
Phil was watching something.
that was
Ads,
We're-
ads
we're-
will
we're
hose
gonna-
you every time, man.
Yeah, we're going to refocus that on these people playing golf in clearly severe wind gusts. You got tree branches, you got all sorts of stuff flying around, and it's like they're still playing the game. And this came from Mikey. He tagged us on Twitter, and he's like, I guess they're just going to play through. This is like one of the most dangerous things you could do because there's
Yes.
lightning, there's debris. I mean,
This is why
Yeah.
women live longer. Right there.
exactly.
Right there.
Exactly.
And this is why more men are hit by lightning than women.
Yep,
Yes,
that's
yes.
exactly true.
Well played, Dina.
I mean, they're literally parked underneath of a tree, and that's literally one of the worst places you could be.
I bet you
know?
he's
Good
looking at the other
Lord.
guy with the camera. He's like, "You got the cooler? Who's got the cooler?"
Exactly. They had one too many drinks, a little too much fun. But yeah.
Oh.
So Mikey, thank you for tagging us in that one.
Yeah, that's a
good one.
problem. That is a good one, and that is one I would not recommend doing. If you see a storm coming, probably not the best place to be on a golf course. There's actually a lot of people that get struck by lightning on golf courses. You guys wouldn't, that's probably one of the highest
Yeah.
percentages. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, that was an actual weather fool, and if you want to see these weather fools and more, go to stormfrontfreaks.com. Look for show or episode 195.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Weather resources. This is actually one of my favorite segments, and we don't do this a lot, but I like it because, when you're around a lot of other meteorologists or storm chasers, you get to learn all the cool apps. Like when I'm around Greg, he's like, "Oh, there's a cool satellite app. You got to use this." Or like I'm around a lot of meteorologists, you learn about the websites that I haven't seen, and there's new ones popping up all the time. So I really like this one. So Jen, I think you have one, right?
I do have one. And this is,
Oh,
Dina, I agree with you. This is one of my absolute favorites because you get to
It's
look
beautiful.
It is beautiful. You get to look at all sorts of different features and see it on the globe. You can spin it around and you can look at, you got Tammy there. You can see what's going around everywhere. But not only that, there are different features within there that you can look at so many different things, add on layers. You're not just looking at the wind, but you can do so many other things. And Phil is doing that right now.
You can see that front.
Yeah.
Right through
That's
there.
so cool.
You can look at the temperature. You can look at the wind speed, the Cape values. You can do everything. This is literally one of the things that I could literally have on a screen in my house and geek out about every single day.
I love this one. I love the ocean currents too.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
It is so pretty. And this came to us from Mr. Mitosis. So we have to thank him for that because this is awesome. And I know, Dina, you and I, and I'm sure a lot of others, we look at this literally every single day.
I do. I use it a lot. Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those great ways to visualize what is going on in our atmosphere.
What is mitosis? Is that something to do with like cells and biology? I don't know.
I don't know. We can go.
The only thing I remember is that the
C+.
mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah,
That's the only
it's
thing I
cells
remember.
when cells separate.
Okay, great.
Okay. And then I know I have one that I wanted to share. And it's a really cool page. Like if you ever have questions about pretty much any kind of weather, it's like a ultimate weather education website from Jeff Habe. And I love it because there's pretty much anything you want to learn. He explains it and he gives you examples. So
nice.
Jeff Habe is awesome.
Public safety, tornado, public safety, and if you want to learn how to read a skew T, or you just want something to explain that there's a skew T, and it's so there's times where sometimes part of my job is explaining weather graphically. So I'm like, all right. You know how you have something in your head, but you just can't articulate it, or maybe there's something you haven't used in a while, and you're like, he's got everything on here, and just bookmark this main page, and if you ever need it, it's all right there. It's all explained. It's like having a kind of like a weather textbook bookmarked.
It's awesome. I used this when I was in school. I looked at Habe's things because they are great, and it's very easily explained and laid out. It's awesome.
Yeah. So just bookmark that one, and if you ever have something you ever need to look something up, it's right there. It's great.
There's some interesting categories like love and weather, bets and weather, pets and weather.
Yeah.
Like
Bets and weather.
Pets and weather. I think that's
go
new.
click on
I
some of
don't
these.
remember pets and weather from a while, but
Yeah, that's
I love it.
It's pretty cool.
That's great.
It's great.
All right, we'll check it out. That's awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
so
Dina.
if you want to see this, you can see everything on episode 195 show notes at thestormfrontfreaks.com.
Send me a postcard, drop me a line.
You've got mail, baby,
Yeah. Okay, the Freak Fan Box. This is our flashy and brilliant comments we get from our viewers, from people who send us cool stuff in our inbox. And we have a couple. I've got a couple here. I got one from Tom Smintana. And Tom, I hope I said that right. Finally got a chance to get
He's
this
Canadian.
awesome prize from my U.S. address that I won from Stormfront Freaks podcast a few months back. Thanks to
nice.
Phil,
So
Stormpod,
cool.
and the whole crew. I have it framed, just finding a premium location for it, signed by Bill Paxton and Heather Hunt.
That was, a
that was
sweet
so
prize.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Phil's gonna have
And
to
then
help
we
me out
have-
because the last time I tried to ship something to a viewer in Canada, it did not work. It did not get there.
It's tricky.
It
It's tricky.
disappears once
tricky
it crosses,
and expensive.
crosses the country. And then I know we have another one from Dylan Richardson. Best weather podcast out there. Always looking forward to more. Keep it up. Thanks, Dylan Richardson.
Oh, that's
that was
awesome. Thanks,
sweet.
guys.
I love it. And of course, we got one of my faves, Cowboy Steve. I call him because when we met him in Oklahoma City, he was wearing a cowboy hat. So ever since then, I call him Cowboy Steve. So I guess he was like, oh my God, the Dirty Taps game. I had to pull over. Was laughing so hard. I was crying. I couldn't see because of the tears. My face hurts. My abs hurt. This was great. Probably one of my favorite episodes yet. Not because of the game, but because of the entire show. That's so nice. I feel like I can relate so much to Mr. Beckman. I can relate. I really liked him. He was great. One of the main reasons why I never went to school for meteorology is because I never thought I would be able to handle all the math. Yeah, the math sucks.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you said. I feel like that spoke a lot to me. I feel like I need to finish my application process. Thank you, Brent Beckman, for the encouragement, and the Stormfront Freaks for me laughing so hard. I know I'm on my way. I know I'm way behind, but I'm bringing to catch up my drive out to California for work, which, I was watching, like, I have him on Facebook, and I saw that he was going out to California, but Cowboy Steve, we love you. That was sweet.
That was awesome.
He's
Thanks for
amazing.
binging us,
That's
man.
great.
Steve is wonderful.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But if you want to post your questions or comments to our Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram account, search Stormfront Freaks, and we might read yours on the next show.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, hey, so thanks to everybody for being here tonight. That just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Live. It's been a night, y'all.
Boom.
Thanks so much for turning in. Before we announce the guest of our next episode, you guys are going to want to hear this too. Do us a favor. If you like our show, make sure you're hitting the follow and the subscribe button. That's super important to us, so make sure you're going ahead and doing that. It helps get us discovered by sharing, by doing that. And also make sure you're sharing your favorite episode on social media, stuff like that. We got a lot of good ones. I mean, we're up to 195 now. A lot of good ones to pick from. So make sure you're definitely sharing that on social media. So we're going to go around to all the freaks, and we want to make sure people understand how they can find you and your content. Dina, how can people find you?
I am Lady Pilot 70 on just about everything now. Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Threads, and Instagram.
Ooh.
Awesome. Sweet. Jen, how can people find you?
You can find me, Jennifer Weather, on Instagram and TikTok. On Twitter, it's at jwatson_WX, or on X. It's that.
Very nice. Very nice. Brady.
On the Twitter, or X as people call it. I literally feel like I'm like 90 when I said that. It's at Brady Harris WX on Twitter. On Instagram, it's at Columbus Weather with Brady.
Nice. Awesome. And so for me, you can find me on all social medias at WX Serena, WXCYRENA, mostly on TikTok these days, but also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X.
And you're quite
Threads.
active. You are quite active.
I have a good time on
Kill it.
TikTok.
Yeah,
You want to
yeah.
come find me on TikTok? We have a little too much fun out there. So, but hey, anyway, thanks so much to our special guest tonight, Vince Waelti. Big round of applause. Thanks, Vince.
Thanks, Vince.
Yeah, so glad to have you here tonight. So for our next episode, it was a huge hit back in 2020. So we are bringing back the Storm Chaser Roundtable. You guys, listen to this lineup. This is crazy. Pecos Hank. We have Daniel Shaw and Mike Oblinsky. Like this is gonna be pretty darn sweet.
That's
so
a
Stormfront
trifecta.
Freaks, right? Man, it's gonna
It is
be
a great
sweet.
trifecta.
Stormfront Freaks is going to be live a week early. We have to change things around because of Thanksgiving holiday and stuff like that. Thursday, November 2nd. So just 1 week away for this amazing show. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on YouTube. And the audio podcast will be available the following week on November 12th. So check in for that one. That's going to be a hard to miss one, man. All of ours are amazing. So with that, for Brady, for Dina, Jen, Phil, everyone back in the green room, our Patreons, Dan, Garrett, Angela, Vince, I'm signaling the all clear. It's been a night, y'all. We will catch you next time. Thanks for
Get
joining
some
us.
chickens.
See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You can watch our bi-weekly show live on youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks and download the audio version on your favorite podcast player. For links to our Patreon team of exclusive benefits, show notes, past shows, new videos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our interactive chaser radar from our friends at zoomradar.com. If you'd like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Yes.
Woo, we did it, guys.
We did it.
It was awesome. And oh my God, everyone in the comments. Incredible.
Yeah, that was the most
Like,
comments
it
I've ever
was-
seen, I think.
Yeah. They were so good. So much fun. And Vince, a rock star.
I feel like that was
Yeah.
something to do with Vince. I bet.
Vince has some
Vince has-
chatty fans. I love it.
I know,
brings
you
back
do.
I love it.
Man, that was awesome.
It
Yeah,
was like a
there's-
Ryan Hall type night, man, with
There-
him. Like,
there's
remember,
this-
It
Ryan Hall
was.
brought a lot of fans. Like,
There's
Vince,
this guy.
Vince brought it.
I don't know if you saw it. It's Vince's banished tartar sauce.
Yeah, I did see that.
Okay.
And I'll say, before you announce this, when I saw that, I'm like, because I'm watching going, okay, is this going to be one of those people that's going to start saying crap that I got to, kick out of the chat? But no, that was fun.
So, like every stream, I end up going to McDonald's because where else am I gonna go? Like while I'm streaming, but I still gotta eat. Like I don't like tartar sauce. I think it's disgusting. I don't eat weird stuff, so I'm like, I'll just get a fish sandwich. Like that's kind of normal, something whatever. So I order the fish sandwich without tartar sauce, and I talked to McDonald's once, and apparently it's something with their system that doesn't like flag no tartar sauce like as boldly as everything else, I guess. So they always put the tartar sauce on it. And one day I'd had enough. I'm like, this was like the 5th time in a row, and I hadn't eaten all day, and I'd already left, and I'm just like pissed off. So I just didn't litter. It was biodegradable. I took the box off of the sandwich. The raccoon was happy. I just chucked it out the window. I'm like, I give up. Like I can't find anything to eat. So some dude just made a Vince's banished tartar sauce account, and it's been like a channel number for like months now, and it just kind of stuck. I see this account like all over the place now.
That's pretty awesome.
funny.
He's apparently a White Sox fan.
Wow.
I don't even know what that is.
Upside down White Sox fan. Well,
I like it.
Oh well.
That's
That's
pretty
okay.
cool.
The chicken
I like
next
it.
time, Vince.
Oh, the
Yeah.
chicken.
Yeah, not for McDonald's. Well, the chicken nuggets have gone downhill though. They always taste like burnt now. I don't know if they
agree.
did something
do
different.
they're
before.
skinny. They're skinny now. They used to be a little. There's a little more meat to them, and
Yep.
Come over to Wendy's. Wendy's will
Yeah,
always be
Wendy's
here for
has the
everyone.
good
Come
nuggets,
on.
man.
Yeah.
They're cheaper too. aren't
Wendy's
they? Only
doesn't
like
have
$1.
good nuggets.
No,
Yes,
Wendy's
they
nuggets.
do.
They
None
they
of
got
them
the
do.
crumbly
The spicy
chicken
nuggets.
coating. I hate the
Spicy
crumbles.
nugs.
I hate
You
the.
Oh
spicy
no,
Phil.
Wendy's are good, and you can
You
get.
guys,
it
I'm a
spicy.
Chick-fil-A girl.
Okay, me too. But
Yeah,
you can't
Chick-fil-A
always
is.
find that.
Brady's
yeah.
also a Chick-fil-A girl.
That's a different level.
Chick-fil-A
Right?
girl.
That you're
He's a
awesome.
cat mom too. Look at his
I'm a,
shirt.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not like that person in the chat. 2 cat moms. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I love it.
that's one of my moderators too. So yeah,
That's awesome.
But if you're
There's a
hungry, you're
cat
never
thing.
going to get Chick-fil-A because the line's too long.
that's true.
They move pretty quick
Yeah,
though.
that's-
They
that's
move
no
pretty
joke.
quick, Dina.
By the way,
they're
kudos to you,
fast, though.
Phil. Phil, you did great with
Hey,
the show.
that was awesome.
I needed to get that first show under my belt.
Yeah.
I felt a little better this time.
You
Yeah,
rocked
you
it.
had it,
I
Phil.
took
That's
my
awesome.
ADHD medication before we started, so I'm good.
Hey.
Which was like a couple shots.
Yeah, it was my Leinenkugel.
I had 2 bourbon drinks before we started.
Have to.
Wow.
Nice. I know Brady had
Super
scotch. I had tequila.
much
We're all.
That's an impressive night, everybody. I'm proud of you all.
Oh.
Thank you.
You're just
Drinking
talking about
hard.
the booze.
We are.
So Vince, you still thinking about that hot tub? I'm just kind of curious if.
Yeah, so I don't have. Well, no, oh my God, there is actually a good
You
amount of
should
snow
get in the
there.
hot tub and
Yeah.
then run out in the snow.
There you
what-
go.
Hot tubs are
Don't
awesome
get
in
in
snow,
I have to
man.
go out to the truck to get my clothes because all I brought in was like the stuff to do this, and I'm lazy, so I put the stuff off till like 2 in the morning when I go to bed. And I really don't want to walk out there because
Be nice and warm.
It looks terrible out there. So, but the next time you need to do me a favor though. If you're gonna have Daniel on next time, don't tell him exactly who told you to ask him this. But if you want to have, well, you can, but you gotta see if he gets it first. But if you want to have like the best show you've ever had, when he jumps on, just say good timing or it's what time is it, Dan? Ask him something about the time,
Yeah,
and you'll have the best show
I've
you've ever had.
All right. Yeah, I've seen a ton of people. Where did it
Yeah.
all go? A bunch of people were commenting on
he
that,
will
and I didn't know
start
what it was.
laughing hysterically and tell you it's an appropriate, fully appropriate, but it's not funny. But he thinks it's so funny. We were sitting at this barbecue, and I'll tell it for him. We're sitting at this barbecue thing in Texas, and he just goes, "Hey, you know what's really funny about the joke?" And I'm like, "What?" And then he doesn't say anything, and I'm like, "Okay, like he just ADHD moment or something, whatever." And he's like eating, and like a minute later, he's just like, "Timing," and I'm like, "What?" And I didn't get it. And he's like, "The funniest part about the joke is the timing," and then he like chokes on his food and about dies. So we drive to the Hampton Inn. So we go to the Hampton Inn in like Borger, Texas, or something, and Hank meets us there. And the first thing he says to Hank, and Hank's just like beat because he's been chasing all day, and he looks at Hank and he's like, "Wow, great timing." And it's like Hank's like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And Dana's just in the parking lot, "Oh, timing," and I'm just like, nobody gets it. Like, I don't even. It's not that funny. So if the show gets a little slow, or you need to check everybody's sobriety, just start talking about timing, and he'll know where it came from, and he'll probably go off on a tangent for like 3 hours. So maybe don't, because he won't shut up. But that's like his brand now.
What we should like tie it into our questions and stuff like that. You know how they used to have meow instead of now? It's meow from Super Troopers.
Yes.
Yeah, we should somehow do timing and just mix it in, and like it's like we don't know the inside joke.
Make it the whole lightning round, Phil. Find a way to make timing the whole lightning round.
Yeah.
That's a great
I don't know
idea.
how, but it'd be sweet.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
that's
something
good.
else. I thought maybe it was an Australian thing. There's some other Australians in a parking lot. I was outnumbered. It was like 4 Australians and 1 American.
In the parking, it was a throwdown.
It was like a kangaroo boxing.
It was like a
match.
gang.
Well, Dano goes inside, and I asked one of the other Australian folks. I said, "So is like this an Australian thing, or like does everybody have a terrible sense of humor?" And they're like, "No, I promise our country is normal." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of mean." Like, I'm not saying that he's not normal. Like, no, like we are normal people. Like, we don't think that everything is this funny. I'm like, okay, because anybody that's talked to Daniel for more than like 5 minutes, like it just everything. It's like a kid at Christmas, just like so much enthusiasm. Everything's funny, even though it's not. And I don't understand any of his jokes. And like when I first met him, like I couldn't even understand what he was saying. And I asked him, like, "Can you just talk slower?" And he's like, "I'll talk in my Alabama accent." And I'm like, "Thank you. I can understand you now." And like he gave me shit for that for like a year. He's like, "You can't even speak English." And I'm like, "No, I can't speak Australian. You people talk so fast."
All right, I'm going to end the stream for everybody watching. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight.
Thanks all.
Check
It's
us
been
out.
fun.
Every 2 weeks, we're live. So check us out. And thanks for joining, everybody.
Yeah. See y'all.
You guys are awesome.